Hi, nice to meet you all. Good morning. My name is Tova. I've been at Ballard for 4 years, and I really am proud to be a JCPS student. I'm not just saying that because you all are here and I'm talking to the principals, but I really am proud. I went to Wilder Elementary and Cameron Middle School, and now I'm at Ballard. So I've been in JCPS for 13 years, and I really am happy to be here. And I genuinely love going to school. I love going to public school, and I tell my mom this all the time. I tell my parents I'm very thankful that I go to public school because I like learning, and I like learning in a lot of different ways. And they didn't tell me to say this. I really mean it. So one of the things that I've struggled with, I would say my biggest obstacle through high school was definitely one of my best friends. Mary Glenn passed away junior year, November of junior year. So working through that was definitely very difficult, but with the help of my friends, with the help of the school staff and my teacher, this is my teacher, Mr. Crocker, who I can tell anything to. These are people who have definitely impacted my high school experience and definitely helped me to grow and transition through this tough time, and who made going to school in wake of tragedy enjoyable. And I think that that is really important, because that is what school is about. It isn't just about learning, but it really is about the people, and it is about the connections you make, because those are the things, besides learning how to integrate in calculus, those are the things that are going to carry you through the rest of your life. So not only is it about the people, like I said, I love learning, and I love going to public school, and I love going to Ballard. But I didn't choose to be here. I'm just here because this is my reside school. I didn't sign up for a pathway. When I was in 8th grade, I'm just here. It was my reside school. So my parents said, "You're going to go to Ballard." I said, "Okay." So, at Ballard freshman year, I signed up to take Art 1. I thought that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to knock out my humanities credit because Art 1 seemed pretty easy. It said on the paper, on scheduling, no experience necessary. I didn't have any experience. I'm not artistic, but the guy next to me was like Picasso. We were sitting there, week 1, we're drawing ellipses. I have no idea how to draw an ellipse. That sounds so easy. It was absolutely not easy. So I went to my counselor. I said, I absolutely cannot do Art 1. I don't know how I'm going to get my humanities credit, but I need to switch out of Art 1. So they switched me out. They said, okay, we have room in broadcasting. I went into broadcasting, and little did I know, 4 years later, that's what I was going to go to college for. I've taken 6 broadcasting classes in my 4 years, and I'm so thankful, because this really has shown me what I want to do. Broadcasting has given me opportunities to grow both behind the camera and in front of the camera. So this was last April, I did JCPS Our Kids in the studio, which was fantastic. And it really, I've come a long way from freshman year. I made how to use a tripod video. That's the lower level stuff we're making, who's your favorite team in the Super Bowl, what type of, how to use a tripod, those type of videos, very basic. And then last year, thanks to, I guess at the end of sophomore year and into junior year, thanks to Dr. Newsom, my broadcasting teachers, Mr. and Miss Evans, I was actually allowed to enter a documentary that I made for the centennial anniversary of high school basketball into a competition where I won a student Emmy, from the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, which is a mouthful. But we got to go to the ceremony, and that was definitely, that is one of my most proud accomplishments, and that's what's in my backpack. That's one of my artifacts, and it's helped me grow my resume. And it also, I met so many interesting people there, and they had the real Emmys downstairs. So these are the student Emmys, they're the real Emmys downstairs. And it was just a really it was really cool to see people in the field that I actually want to go into, that 4 years ago I really didn't know I wanted to go into. And so not only have I grown through broadcasting, but through the 7-period day, through the scheduling, I've been able to grow, outside of broadcasting. And so what I really like about Ballard is how we structure our classes. So I have been able to progressively take, over the course of my time, I've taken now 10 APs, which I'm really proud of. And also, now that I'm trying to finance my post-secondary education, it's really important to get credit going to it, especially because I want to go out of state. So freshman year, I took 1 AP class. Sophomore year, I took 2. Junior year, I took 3, and this year I'm taking 4. And these have just really allowed diversity in the content that I take in, which I'm really thankful for, and it's allowed me to kind of explore other options. Like before this year, I didn't know that I wanted to take computer science. I didn't know I liked coding. Like I said, oh, okay, I want to take AP Computer Science. Signed up, and now I'm 100% going to take some sort of coding class in college because it is something that really interests me and something that can be used throughout my life. So these have all contributed, you know, to my post-secondary education. So I've applied out of state. I got into Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin. I got direct admit into the media school at IU and Ohio State as well. So I applied to all of those for broadcasting and communication, which is something I didn't know I wanted to do. And also in these classes, what it's helped, a lot of my artifacts in my backpack are actually papers, and these are papers that you just have to get used to. I was not used to sitting down and writing 3, 4, 5-page papers, you know, on a semi-regular basis, and I think this year I've really solidified that I will be okay in college. Like, it will be hard, but I will be okay. And so I'm really thankful for that and for my teachers to help guide me through this process. And my only advice for Ballard, like I said, I really love going to school. And my only advice for Ballard, so this is my younger sister, she's a freshman. She kind of looks taller than me in the photo, but I really don't think she is taller than me. But she's a freshman at Ballard, and so I've seen 2 different principals at Ballard, and I've seen, you know, my freshman and sophomore years have been different than my junior and senior years. And I think that my advice for my sister Talia is that my advice for Ballard, and I've seen this through my sister Talia, is that I wish that I really got a connection with my counselors early. And so freshman year, to really get with them and meet with them, you know, maybe just once a year. I understand that there are a lot of students at Ballard, and there's a very diverse range of stuff that people want to do. And I understand not everyone wants to go to a 4-year college, and that's not right for everyone. And I understand with a school as large as Ballard and a lot of your schools, I'm assuming there are a lot of students that you have to accommodate for. But I think that if you meet once a year freshman year, once a year sophomore year, junior and senior, then and maybe more senior, that this would actually help people be prepared for college and, you know, kind of funnel interest and scholarship their way early, so that way, you know, you really have an upfront view of the students. But now that we have Freshman Academy and the academies at Ballard, I know that my sister actually is getting, you know, funneled in more. So she right now is in the visual and communications, the visual pathway. And she's doing art. She's going to sign up for art too. And she can draw on ellipse, and she's good at it. So just the genes didn't run strong, and, you know, for me. But I'm really thankful, and I'm truly am grateful to go to Ballard. And I love learning. I think that Ballard has increased my work ethic, and it's you know, grown my mind. And I think that is so important, because that really is what school is about. It's not always about what you learn or how you learn, but it's like the combination of all of it. So I'm really thankful, and thank you all for listening to me.
All right.
I'm really grateful
to be able to present this to you guys. I kind of like talking in front of people, which is kind of weird. But when Mr. Pasquini came and asked me if I would do this, I said, yeah, that sounds like fun. So today, obviously, it's a defensive learning, but I don't really like the term defensive learning, so I'm going to call it a discussion of growth. Because when I told my dad I was doing a defensive learning, he got worried. He remembered his thesis defense, and it made him nervous. So it's not a defensive learning, it's a discussion of growth. I'm going to show you guys a little bit of how I've grown here at Ballard in the last few years. So to start off, I went looking for a good freshman picture of myself. They're non-existent. This is the best I had. So I look about the same. I've gained 40 pounds since then, and I've grown a lot. I've learned a lot of really, really important lessons that I'll carry with me for the rest of my life, including how to power wash a deck. So some of the expectations and the goals I had coming into high school, this quote's one of them. It doesn't matter what you do, but it has to have a lot of math. And then the other quote from a family member is, your mother and I will never ask you to do anything you're not capable of. You're capable of getting A's, so you will get A's. And that was the ultimatum I was given. And both of those are quotes from my grandfather that he told my mom, and then my mom told those to me. And so I came to Ballard expecting that I was going to work hard, and that if I worked hard, that hard work would pay off, and that I would come out better at the end of the experience. So I did 2 pathways, kind of. have 1 foot in each. I did the visual design and the graphics pathway, and then I'm also a STEM guy, so all the AP science classes and math and cool stuff like that. For graphics, in the beginning, things were not very good. Came in having not done any of it before. I took it because originally I lived outside the resides area of Ballard, and so I needed to apply to a magnet program to get in, and visual design looked like fun. I'm not really a theater guy, and so we ended up doing this. And to begin, things were kind of elementary. This looks like a Microsoft Paint kind of production. You get the idea that I'm trying to convey, but it's not extensive. It's not very advanced. This one I showed to my brother, and he said, "Oh dear." You can see it's supposed to be a pool table. There's no sense of depth. There's no sense of texture or where anything is supposed to be situated. And that's kind of how things were freshman year, very elementary. But Mr. Kroom, our graphics teacher, was really, really good and taught me some important techniques that aided in my development as a graphic designer. So now I've been able to do some other stuff that's a little bit better. The one on the far left was kind of fun. My dad was doing cancer research, oral cancer, and he needed some photos laid out in a publication he was going to send to a medical journal. And I happened to have the Photoshop and InDesign skills to be able to put that together for him so that the resolution was correct and so that the layout was correct, so that the journal would accept the publication. So that was kind of cool. I got published in a medical journal. And then I've always loved Samuel Jackson. He's a great actor, and so we had to do a project in the form of Paul Normansell, and that was what ended up happening, and I thought that was pretty cool. And then The Martian, we had to do a movie poster. I've always loved The Martian. I think it's a great movie, because I'm kind of a science geek. And so you can see things have started to evolve. Another practical application for this, aside from just the medical journal, was we had a friend who had this family photo of her father, who was a Navy captain, the one on the left, and then normally if you go to get a photo restored, companies will charge you quite a bit of money for that. But I was able to do it for free here at school in about 3 days, and now we're able to get that printed for her so that she has that to hang on to as well as the original. And then this is my favorite photo that I've done here at Ballard. I've always loved our country. I've always been kind of a patriotic sort of guy. And my little brother and I went to the military cemetery a few miles down the road, and the inspiration for the photo just kind of came, and was able to do it. And so I was really grateful to the teachers here for having given me the skills to be able to do something like that, to be able to show a photo that really conveys feeling and has a message as opposed to just a pool table, some mundane object. As far as science and math, I did science fair, and that was a step outside of my comfort zone. It was the first time I'd really done a project in school, and then gone and tried to present it to people I didn't know, people in the community. And that ended up going really, really well. I was able to go to the regional science fair, and I was able to win in my category, which was, it was really exciting for me because it was the first time where I'd worked really, really hard on something for a long period of time, and then because of that I had gotten a physical payback very, very quickly. And so that was a big, big moment for me. As far as obstacles, Tova talked about Mary Glenn. I'm really glad that she did, because for our entire class that was a big blow. It took the entire year to recover. We're still recovering from that, but it really helped us to bond and to grow closer as a class. For me, aside from that, in terms of academic challenges, I took AP Chemistry my junior year, and I think I was a little cocky coming off of AP Biology because that had gone pretty well because the teacher was phenomenal. And AP Chemistry, the first test I got a 57%, and at the end of the first 6 weeks I had a D+, which was, if you remember the quote from earlier, it didn't sit very well. And so I went home, I was talking to my mom, I was like, this happened. And she said, well, you know, you need to do something different. Clearly what you're doing is not working. And she asked me, well, did you read the syllabus? I said, no, it's in the garbage. She said, I think you should read the syllabus. So I went and I got the syllabus from the teacher. I got another copy, and I read through it. And sure enough, it had tons of helpful suggestions about how to do well in the class that I had totally ignored because I thought, you know, who needs a syllabus, right? So that's one of the lessons I've learned in high school is you should always read the syllabus, because what it taught me was she had certain suggestions like reading the textbook before class, which is kind of a common sense sort of thing, but for some reason it didn't click until I read it. And so AP Chemistry, that year it took top priority above all my other classes. When I got home, I would read the textbook for the next day's class. I'd do the homework first, studied extensively, went to tutoring, things like that. And over the course of that semester and then through the next semester, I was able to get an A both semesters. And then in the end, I was able to pass the AP test with a 5, which was really, really, for me, it was a landmark sort of thing, because I had started out rock bottom, and then through months of hard work, day after day, right, doing the little things every day, I was able to do something that I could really, really be proud of, and was able to learn a lot of really cool stuff, and came out of that as one of my favorite classes I've ever taken because of those lessons that it taught me, not just in chemistry, but also in hard work. And then finally in the math and science, ACT improvement. Coming into junior year, my math score in the ACT was a 30. And I obviously hadn't had all the math yet, and I thought, well, I want to see if I can bump that up. And I had a teacher, a fabulous teacher, Miss Pointer, for pre-calculus and statistics. And over the course of that year working with her, she was able to teach me and work with me to the point where I was able to get that score up to a 36 at the end of the year in the math section. And so these are just a couple of experiences from high school that for me really illustrate the ability that hard work has given me to succeed, and the fact that that's one of the biggest lessons I've taken out of high school is that ultimately the only barrier to success is hard work. And ultimately everyone's chasing the same prize, and so the person who runs fastest is going to get it. And so it's taught me that if I want to get the prize, I got to run faster than everyone else. And if I can do that, I can count on being able to achieve more often than not. So I've kind of already talked about a lot of these. One other big lesson I learned was time management. For school, you know, you have to learn how to manage your time when you're taking AP classes. I also, in the morning, I do an early morning seminary class at 6 a.m. every day, and so for me, I had to learn to get to bed on time, because very, very quickly, if things got out of hand, then I was dead the entire day. And at the same time, I did cross country and track, and so it was very, very demanding. But it taught me that every day there's 24 hours, and so I'm either using those productively or I'm not. And at the end of the day, I'm the one accountable for that. And so, however much I get done is totally up to me, and I need to work to make that as good as I possibly can. The last little bit here is my post-graduation plans. I'm not going to go to college immediately. I'm going to do a 2-year mission trip. So I'm in the process of getting the application in. What we do in our church is you send in an application, and then they send you anywhere in the world that they want you to go. So I have a friend in New Delhi, India right now, another friend who's leaving for Mexico City. I've had friends serve in Brazil, Hungary, all over the world. And so I'm really looking forward to that, because it's an opportunity for me to try to give back to the world, to help see the suffering that there is in the world, and to be able to help put a stamp on that, to be able to help some people out, to be able to share the happiness that I've found here in America, and in the way that I live my life. Following that, I'm going to come home, and then I'm going to go to college. I'm not sure where yet. I want to do biomedical engineering, because I've always loved the study of life and science, and I've also always loved engineering. But I don't think I want to be a doctor, because that sounds a little too, I don't do very well with blood. I do okay, but it sounds like another hurdle to try to jump to get used to that. The 4 colleges up there, the 4 that I've applied to, I'm still waiting to hear back from them, and scholarship money and other things will determine a lot of where I end up, as well as where I feel like God wants me to go. And then after that, some sort of graduate school. I'm not sure yet. We've got some years before that, but maybe an MBA, maybe med school, who knows. So the good news is, though, that I feel like my time at Ballard has prepared me for all of that, because I know that if I work hard and I do what I'm supposed to do, that there is nothing saying that I can't get all that done. And that ultimately, they say the sky's the limit, and that's kind of a cliche saying, but in truth, that's what it is. The sky is the limit. And your limit is set based on how hard you work. The last little thing on the rubric was advice for the administration. And this was the hardest slide to come up with, which is why it's practically blank. I just have really, really appreciated Ballard. Ballard has, the way that Ballard is structured, you can, like me, you can have one foot in different content areas. So I was doing visual design. Right now I'm doing an art history class, which has been a stretch. And then I was also able to do science and math. And so I was able to kind of pick different areas of my brain to see what worked, to see what I liked, and ultimately to be able to try to work hard in every subject so that I could be well-rounded in every area of my life. This year, for the first time, I did choir because my mom told me I should. And that was a fantastic decision. Now, normally in some other places, the way things are structured, sometimes it's difficult to do both. But that's one thing that, if I had to give advice to the administration, it would be to keep it that way. Keep it so that you can kind of, not meddle, but you can pick from different areas, and you can learn, and you can round yourself out. And ultimately, I hope that the school will continue to work hard, and that kids will continue to succeed. So, thank you. Any questions?